Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Ray with budgetshooting.com, and today I want to go over my 9mm AR build. So let me get this handguard off for you and we'll go over the details. Alright, so with the handguard off, I'll give you some idea of what this thing looks like underneath it. It's got a real little short barrel. The can takes up most of this. The whole reason I went with this setup with this handguard is so that the can would be tucked under it, kind of gives it a integral look, which I thought was cool. And the whole reason I went with this round handguard in general is because I've always liked the design of the MP5 SD and similar subguns. I just really like that look of tubular handguard with a suppressor tucked underneath and just a well-performing 9mm carbine subgun, whatever you want to call it. This thing's pretty basic. A lot of it was actually built with spare parts that I had from other AR builds. The lower is a Psionics lower that I got locally. It's got a Rise Armament trigger in it. The lower parts are a mix of mil-spec, strike industries, hodgepodge together parts. It's got an extended takedown pin from YHM, and the other one's mil-spec. This thing is literally just a thrown together assortment of parts that just happens to work well. SB Tactical SBA3 stabilizing brace. I think the buffer tube is from PSA. Primary Arms red dot on it. It's one of their classic series cheap red dots, but it works really well, especially on this thing. The upper is Delta Team Tactical. It's one of their big port uppers. You can kind of see that right there. It's got that nice big ejection port for those larger 9mm cases. 4-inch barrel, which you can see it's super short. Let me get this can off and I'll give you an idea of just how short this thing is. It's 1/2x36 threading, which isn't terrible, but it kind of limits you on muzzle device options these days since most 9mm is threaded 1/28. But it's not a big deal. I was able to find a compatible Form 1 suppressor mount. Threads on this thing are super long though, but there we go. That's what it is without the can on it. Super short. Even with the can and handguard on it, the overall package is really small. It's got a Foxtrot mic 9mm bolt carrier in it, and I usually use the Endomag conversion mags with mean arms because this is just a standard AR-15 lower. Nothing special about it. It's not a dedicated Glock or Colt mag lower. I wanted that flexibility to be able to use it on other uppers. As time has gone on, this has been dedicated to 9mm, so I'm looking into other lowers to put on it or conversion blocks, but as of now, those mean arms conversion mags work really well. I've got no complaints. It's mostly just an aesthetic choice of me wanting to go to a Glock mag lower, but for now, continuing to run it like this, it works good. It is a direct blowback. That's the other thing I'm looking into in the future, is a possible conversion to the CMMG RDB system to have a little bit of delayed blowback for quieter operation just through reduced port pop noise and things like that. But considering this is straight blowback, it has a heavy buffer weight in it. I think it's 15 ounces. The buffer assembly, including the bolt carrier group, has the tungsten weight in the back. I don't know what total weight is on the whole system, but I know it's heavy enough to delay it as much as possible without running into issues with ejection or feeding or reliability or anything like that. It does work pretty good. Delay would be nice, but as far as straight blowback hosts go, I'm super happy with it. I got this Form 1 build done a couple of months ago. It's 12 radials, I believe, and a stepped cone as the blast baffle. Silencer Student has done testing on these, and in his testing with subsonic 300 blackout rounds, he found that it was a better blast baffle than your traditional 50-degree cone in his back-to-back testing. And so I wanted to give it a try in a low-pressure round like 9mm as the blast baffle to see if it makes any kind of difference. And that's not the only thing that goes into this entire setup's performance, but I am super happy with the way this thing performs. In the videos that I will show after this, I've got a comparison of it when I took it out shooting for the first time, and I'm comparing it to a buddy of mine's SIG MCX in 9mm. and he's got a Rugged Obsidian 45 on that thing, and so I got to do a little bit of comparison testing between my Form 1 can on a direct blowback host versus his, I think it's an MCX. So not an MCX, it's an MPX. It's too easy to get those confused with SIG's 3-letter naming system, but it is an MPX copperhead with their delay system on that, and a Rugged Obsidian 45 with the 9mm front cap. And I've got no 3-lug adapter on mine yet. It's something I'm looking to do in the future, so I unfortunately don't have direct comparison between the same host on 2 different cans. But comparing between the hosts of direct blowback and a delayed blowback in itself was a metric that I was interested in trying to capture on video, and so this goes into a little bit of that. You guys can see for yourself in the clips that I'm going to show here, but I think all in all, my direct blowback host with a Form 1 can held its own against an MPX with delayed blowback and a Rugged Obsidian 45, so I'll let you guys check out those videos now, and you guys be the judge of that. So now that you've had a chance to hear those clips, let me know what you think in the comments below. I think the Form 1 definitely held its own against an MPX with a commercial can on it. Obviously, you're not going to hear the nuances in the different sound on video. I try as good as I can to limit clipping on the audio. In those clips, there shouldn't have been any clipping at all, so it's not cutting out any of the noise, but you're still not going to get that in-person sound attenuation difference when you're actually out there shooting it, as you're going to hear in the video. But just through personal experience, I can say that I'm super happy with this Form 1. It sounded very similar, almost if not exactly like the Rugged Obsidian in person, and while they have the benefit of being a modular can and slightly smaller in overall diameter, it is a similar length. The Rugged is slightly longer, mine's slightly shorter, but mine's slightly larger OD, so the volumes are very similar. The Rugged would be easier to run on a pistol host if that's what you intended its use for. Mine is a dedicated PCC build, so I wasn't worried about the size of the tube blocking sights or anything like that. I knew this is what it was going to be used for. I knew it was going to fit under my handguard. Those were in addition to being quiet and using radial internals, which I had personal preference on. The whole point of this thing was to aesthetically look good on this host, fit under the handguard, and perform well. And I think I hit all those the way I wanted to within the restraints of this host itself. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this type of video of the different suppressor comparisons and stuff like that, there's a couple more on my page. I'll try to get some more in the future, but applications for stamps are down, so whenever I get around to more, I'll post some more. I've got a 3-inch 22 can that I'm working on now, just waiting on the stamp to come back on that so I can get it all drilled out and finished up, and then I will compare it to my 6-inch can, the Wish can that I reviewed prior to this. But yeah, if you're interested in that, check those out. You can subscribe. I should have more content out like this in the future. If you enjoyed it, let me know. Whatever your thoughts are, just put them down in the comments below. I would appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for watching.